everybody. Yes, it is another question and answer time. I'd like to start off by saying thank you to everybody. We hit 300 as of today of me making this video. I don't know where it's going to be when this video comes out, but I know that today we hit 300, and I'd like to thank you. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It would really help me out. Like I said, I am enjoying doing this stuff, so I do it more for the love of doing it than anything else. So today I'm going to answer 3 or 4 questions because I just had another one pop up today. So I'd like to start off. I'm doing it a little differently today. I'm doing it by how quickly I'm going to answer the question. So shorter answers first, and then I'm going to extend them off because there's a very large one at the very end that somebody asked about, and I'm going to talk about it when I get there. So the first question is, and I'm not giving any names out, just so you know. If you're okay with me giving names out, then I'm going to have to sit down and figure out how I'm going to do this because I'm getting a lot more questions. So am I going to give the names out and say, this is the question, or am I just going to keep doing it like this? So the first question is, have you had any weird noise happening during fade outs when in mixdown playback? My DP24 SD is doing this. I'm not really sure what weird noises you're getting. I do know that if you are using the internal effects, or if you're using any effects, and they're kind of on an open line where you're not fading them down with it, they will like make strange noises, such as a phaser will sit there and you'll hear rear in the background, stuff like that. Now, if it's dirty, like if maybe your fader is dirty or one of your faders is dirty, I suggest cleaning it. I pulled this out. This is what I use, which is it's F-Series Deoxit Fader F5. I have used it on everything in my studio here. I do not recommend using it on TV remotes and that. I did that, and I had to go out and buy a new TV remote because I messed it up terribly. But this works well. This is what I use. It's worth the money. I can't remember what I paid. I think it was like $10. Now that's $10 Canadian. I don't know how much it is in the States. And it works well. I did a video on this before where I cleaned off my Porta studio because I was getting dirty pots and that. And so it is worth the money. I recommend using this. It is worth the money. I've used it many times. I actually have to use it on my 1 amp because I noticed that the one pot is getting dirty and starting to make crackle noises. So, excuse me. That I recommend right there. So that's first off. Let's go down the list here. Hi, I was doing the latest update. Do you know if the music on my SD card will be removed or harmed in any way while doing this? Can I remove the SD card during the update? Okay. The reason I answered him on his thread there as well. I did with the other guy too. I try to do both, but if I feel it's a good question, I'm going to bring it out to everybody. Number 1, under any circumstance, do not remove your SD card with the power on. I know people have done it. I don't recommend doing it. Even in the book, they say don't do it. Like in the manual, don't do it. The reason being, yes, you have that 1 in a million chance that you're going to be fine, everything's going to work. But there's that one time where you're just going to blow it up. Something's going to go wrong. You're going to lose something. What I recommend is if you are like me, where you do a lot of you edit something and then you transfer it over to your computer, I recommend doing it. I recommend doing it as like just hooking up your USB. It's faster. It's safer. You don't have to turn off your machine. You have your USB hooked up. That's why I have my computer so close to my Tascam, so that I have it hooked up. It's always constantly hooked up, and that way whenever I need it, just USB, whoop, over we go, and it's done. It's much safer. If you don't have that option, turn off the system and then just move on with that. And then turn it back on once you get the SD card back in. It's just one of those things, because I know as a developer, there are things that I have in the settings that may, that I store in memory, and until somebody leaves the program, I don't save them to the system. It could be the same with this. I don't know. I'm not the developer on it, but there is that chance that one of the settings is in memory, and until you store it, it doesn't save it back. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I won't do it. I will rather just go, click menu, go to USB right into the system. So much easier. You get the same file format. You get everything is the same. It's just like having an external hard drive or external drive on your system, and it's the exact same stuff. It's as opposed to like the what is it, DPO8, which is a completely different format where you can't even see anything that you're working on. This you can. The second part of the question was, or actually that was the first part, but is it going to remove any files? If you are afraid, I don't think it will, but if you are afraid it will, copy your files off. You should be doing that anyways. You should be copying your stuff, because anything can happen. Your SD card could blow up the next day. You never know. So what I generally do is, once again, while I have it hooked up to my computer, I can just go turn USB, grab the directory, copy the directory over. Now I have all those SD card. I have a directory called SD card, which has all my different projects in it. And that way, if for any reason I need to get back to one, I just go and I copy that directory back on the SD card. I do it all the time. That's why when I do like these tests and I show you things, I don't worry about it, because those files are somewhere else. They're actually in two different places. I have them on a little hard drive and I have them on there, or on my computer. And the reason being, I want to make sure that I have the stuff. That way it's there, I know it's there, and it's not just on my system here, on my Tascam. So that's why I do that. So yeah, if you are afraid, I don't think it will, because all it's doing is just upgrading the firmware, and I don't even think it deletes the firmware file after it's done. Like, I know that when you do an import on the system, if you use the export on the Tascam, it will remove the imports that you do, and the reason it does that is just so you don't re-import them again, which also makes sense. So yeah, let's see, where else are we here? Yeah, the next one was quite old. He was asking, I can't find it on the list here. Nope. Let's see. Okay, so he was doing a loop, and he's asking, I've been wondering about this feature. I've heard you couldn't get it smooth loop, but you showed you could. What's cool is if doing ambient music, you could loop, say, 8 tracks, then mix them in real time, bringing the faders in and out. You'd have to record the performance to another recorder, but it'd be a fun way to work. I was hoping Tascam would introduce a newer model this year at NAMM, but it seems these multi-track recorders are almost extinct. The drums sound good coming from a tape. So that was from the looping one. Now, first off, I don't think consoles are going anywhere. Tascam didn't bring out another one in NAMM, probably because they just brought one out. Like the 16, the Model 16 just came out like the end of last year. So now there's talk of a 32 version, which I think is overkill, but there's talk of it. So I don't think they're going away. I think they're being more integrated into DAWs, in that where you have your console that you can walk away with. You can do your recordings and then bring it back and then hook it up to the DAW, and then everything will go in the DAW, and you can use the console to control the DAW. That I could see happening more. I don't think they're going away. I think it's more, there's a lot of them out there right now, and they're all doing roughly the same thing. And I think it's more they just didn't have the need to bring one out in NAMM, because they already brought one out in the fall. So that's the new model thing, is what they're working on. So that's first on there. Second is the looping. Now, the easiest way, if you're doing this, you don't need another recorder. if you're going to do a fade in, fade out, the easiest way, I'm going to go over to my Tascam now. Now what I've done is I got lucky. A video I'm doing later on is I'm going to actually review the application Melodics, and one of the things is if you keep up your streak, you get free things. So they gave me a whole bunch of loops to play with. So what I did was I looped everything. Let me see if I can hear it on the system here. It's not coming through. Nope. Nope, it's not coming through. Hang on a sec. Okay, so there is my loop. That is what we are going to work on. Now what I did was I did this. Now you might see that it's popping up on tracks 9 through 22. What I did was that's the main beat that they gave me. And so there we are. So what I did was I looped, I took most of them, not all of them, and I looped them four times over. So these ones are all looped. So I don't have any loop tracks, that's why I use these ones. So what I'm going to do, let's go to mixer for a second. We're on track 2, 3, put it in 0. There's 0. All right. So we are going to use that as our bounce track. So click on bounce. These are going to be our tracks that we are going to use for it, and we are going to record it there. So let's see if it'll go over there. All right. So what I'm going to show you is, it's going to be a little dramatic. Now what you can do is, instead of using a second recorder, you use the bounce system. So if I hit record now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring each one up so they come in. So start with this one. One's gone. I didn't say it was a good loop or good. So now what I've done is on track 23. If we go back to track 23, so let's go listen to track 23, you will hear, it comes up, there's the next one in, there's the drums, and there you go. So now I have created, on that one track, on track 23, I now have all those different sounds blended the way I wanted them to be. And I can now work with that, and then I can move on with the rest of it. I can start erasing stuff if I want, or leaving it. But it's, like I said, it's an easier way than having to have a second Tascam out to do your fading in that. So that is today's video. Once again, thank you very much to everybody for subscribing. I have a lot of stuff I got to review. As you can see over here, I've got a digital drum set that I bought, which I'm going to talk about. And then I have my little laptop over there, which is hooked up to the digital drum set, which I'm also going to talk about at some point. I have an amp sitting here that some people see on Instagram, and nobody's asked about it, but I have to do a review on that as well. I bought that for one specific reason, and it's working out really well. And so I'm going to talk about that. And yeah, it's just been absolutely crazy. I have a song that I'm trying to finish. I'm working on a surf rock song, and I'm hoping to get that out soon. And yeah, it's just been crazy over here. So once again, thank you very much. Talk to you later. Bye.
Love me as much as I love you. You are my guiding light. You keep me warm all through the night.